This is my E30, and I've built a drift car interior like no one has ever done before. I upgraded everything necessary by trying to stay as near as possible to OEM. I already had upgraded the turbo to match the OEM look, but the interior was definitely not designed to handle this kind of power. Now it was time to fresh things up, so let me tell you the full story. I started with stripping out everything from the interior. And while I was doing this, I suddenly found the sunglass I was looking for some years for now. So this was a funny moment. I know where you're looking, you little pervert. So please stop looking there. And here I used this opportunity to get some 40-year-old dirt out of the carpets. You may have noticed that some parts of the carpets are blue and some are black. This is because I tried to dye the carpet black once. As you can see, it didn't turn out very well. But this was not what I planned to fix, although there are gonna be a lot of other things that weren't planned, but I still ended up doing them, which of course costed me a lot of stress and nerves, but you will find that out yourself later on. Here I removed the seat belts, and before I kept going on to the center console, I wanted to see how the flyoff looks like so I can see where I can put it in. Don't ask me what I was doing here, I wondered too while watching this. This was my first struggle. I didn't know where and how to put the flyoff in. I really had no idea how this should fit in here. I realized I wouldn't get any smarter by wasting too much time overthinking this. So instead, I just kept on going and hoped that I would find anything out on the way to there. In this stage, I slowly realized I didn't get any smarter. And this was the time where I realized that I probably would have to do some cutting on this thing. And I had no idea where to start, so I was really struggling. Then I thought to myself, you know what, instead of overthinking everything too much, maybe I should just go on with things where I already know what to do. And then I tried to reverse engineer this by putting in the flyoff somewhere where I could bolt it in very easily, so at least the mounting work would be easy. Here I found out that you could adjust the neutral position of the flyoff, which was definitely very important. And then I decided the mounting point of the flyoff would be here in the middle, and for that I had to do some removal of things that were in my way, and so I cut these. Here I was still hoping to find any way out of this by magic or something like that, because I really had no idea how this could fit in by the same time looking good. And let's say if I would have found a perfect spot for this, the next problem would be, how would I get the center console in and out? And why does this look so wrong, man? Every time doing anything on the car. Just why? Anyways, in the end I decided to put the flyoff here in the center line of the center console, so at least there would be some symmetry. And also one of these gauges had to go, but this was an easy decision because I had an oil pressure gauge which wasn't working anyway, so I decided to delete that one. I still didn't know what I was doing, so I just kept on and just cut this thing out and hoped to figure it out along the way. Alright, now it was too late for any regrets. I just had to keep on going. So let's try it how it looks. Alright, I think this does not look bad at all. So I continued to drill the holes for the flyoff. This is pretty self-explaining what I did here. I just checked here if the bolts were not touching the transmission. Alright, the flyoff was mounted, but I had some missing parts like the brake lines. So I kept on going with other things, like the seats. Our new Sparco seats. A special function I wanted to have was adjustable backrests. Here I did some measurements of the mounting points, just to later realize that these were completely off and I had to make an own build of a console or just buy one. The mounting points of the seats were too narrow and too short. And for the driver side I ordered some seat rails so I can adjust these. This was my first fitment test, just to see if the seat even sits in here and if it has enough clearance to the door and to the console and everything around it. Alright, they passed this test. Here I was thinking about building my own construction, but instead I decided just to order 2 new consoles. So I had to continue on with something else for now. I thought it would be a good idea to get some quick dopamine shot by quickly changing the steering wheel. But it was about to turn out that this was definitely not a quick job. Some idiot had been powder coating this wheel hub, also in the inside, and this caused me a little bit of trouble. There was almost like a full layer of powder coating inside of the teeth, and there was no way that I could get this out. And all of a sudden, there was some glue on my hands. Yeah, and then I realized it was on a glued stick. I was glad that this was cleanable with some brake cleaner. Let's get the new steering wheel. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this horn in because it was touching the original steering wheel bolt. Finally, the steering wheel was on. Oh no, the next problem. Just let me quickly remove it so I can check what's going on. Oh yeah, I almost forgot, there was some problem with the teeth and the powder coating. As you can see, my dopamine shot was going well, so that's why I had to do the removal without you guys watching. Don't ask me how I fixed this, but after removing and putting it back on, it was alright again. And of course, I lost the alignment of the steering wheel, so I had to check the wheels if they were straight. So I had to remove the steering wheel again, but this time it was easier because the powder coating got worn off a little bit. Yay, nice dopamine shot. I am so happy. Okay, let's continue with the brake system and the flyoff. As you can see, I had already installed this brake pressure regulator because of my big Porsche brakes. Even if the regulator was completely closed, I had too much force on the rear brakes. So the only reliable solution was putting in a stepped brake cylinder, which was making less force on the rear brakes right from the beginning. So I thought this would be a good idea to do this together with the flyoff, so that I could do the bleeding both in once. Here I did an inline system of the flyoff, like I did in my E36 last time. And the bleeding of the system took very long, the bubbles were not stopping at all. And then I did a little test how the flyoff was working, and boy, it was strong. It was working really good. So finally here I got my dopamine shot.
Oh yeah, and by the way, if you like this video so far, don't forget to support me by liking and subscribing to my channel. Thanks.
Alright, let's keep on going to the back to make it a little bit comfier there. For this I bought some universal vinyl, and then I did some cleaning of 40 years old dirt. This was pretty disgusting, but it was necessary and it worked out well. Okay, let's move on to the vinyl part. And then I laid down this piece that I cut roughly. And then it was time again to question all the life decisions that I made, because I was just standing here and thinking for way too long how to start with this and why I was even doing this. Oh boy, I swear I've been sitting here for about half an hour thinking about where to start, and I just couldn't figure it out, and I was thinking to give it up and maybe just not do it or whatever. Finally I was like, screw it, and just started doing it and hope to figure it out along the way and see what is gonna be happening. So I started to cut off pieces where I already knew that had to be cut, just to get a little bit nearer to that what I wanted and just to see if it's gonna help. At least the color and the form of the vinyl was fitting into here very good. After I cut these side pieces, this thing was fitting very well, just too well. Here I open it up for the harnesses. Here I used some heat gun to heat up the vinyl to get a forming, because the description said it was able to be formed if you put on some heat. Yeah, I should have seen that coming when using a heat gun for the first time. Oh shit. And even that I put a lot of heat on it, it was just not able to be formed. And then I tried a second time from the inside and then decided to give up. And then I had a good idea. I cut these holes for the original harnesses so they would hold this in place, and it worked out very well. Originally I was planning to glue this carpet on, but then I realized that this was already fitting very well just as it is. So I decided to just let it as it is. I have been worrying just way too much for nothing. It turned out to be very well and I was happy with it. And also my Domo was very happy with it. And then I wanted to get my new harnesses on, just to get a little more dopamine shots. And I just wanted to see if it was fitting or if there was something that was missing, so I could order it when I was already waiting for the seat consoles to arrive. Then I decided to give me some more dopamine shots for the good work that I had done. I was so glad that everything was going very well so far. In the next day, it was time to get into some dark web. I mean like dark spiderwebs. I was looking for some parts that have been laying around here for very long. Like I think I bought these 10 years ago or so. And when I was already waiting for the missing parts, I thought this was a good idea to put these things on. On my way to the garage, I bought these flat steels because I just had a feeling that I might be needing these. One thing I needed to repair was this door latch, and the other thing was the mounting of the gas pedal. Yeah, I also heard these noises and I also saw this rust, but you know, I was with the motto out of sight, out of mind, just don't look at it and it's not there. I'm leaving the following part uncommented. Alright, I'm back again. Everything is fine again. And if you were wondering what is behind the sealant, of course I welded everything up and did everything just as it should be done by a master mechanic, you know? Look how nice this works again. So I think there is no problem left. So let's go to the part where I actually had bought the flat steel for. It was the flyoff. As you can see, it was moving the whole body. So I wanted to make this a little bit stronger. I was actually planning to weld this on, but this worked out to be perfect just as it was. So I just left it in here like this and it was working perfectly. Okay, let's go on to the last part, the door latch. I had this problem for about 10 years by now, and this was the first time that I even looked behind here. And I was shocked by what I saw. I fixed the crack by using a big washer. And no, you just did not see me using my ratchet as a hammer. So the washer trick seemed to be doing very well. And it was a very strange feeling to feel this door like it should be feeling again. Finally, all my missing parts had arrived, and also the seat consoles. Remember when I said that I bought these because I didn't want to build my own ones? Yeah, guess what? Neither the mounting points of the seats or the mounting points on the car were fitting. The mounting points on the car were 5mm off, and the mounting points on the seats were completely off. I was glad that I bought that flat metal, so I used this one to build some adapters. So this was the final result. As you can see, the bolts were absolutely not lining up with the holes, so this was a part that took me a lot of time. You will see later again why, but I had to put these bolts on while under pressure. this movement was not the bolt going through the hole. The only solution was to bend the bolt to the right direction so it goes through, and it worked. Tightening up those 4 bolts took me about half an hour because it was so tight to get in. But I was finally finished, so I could test this for the first time. My height position was pretty high to be honest, but I didn't consider that at the first. And then I put the harness on, and I was very amazed of the looks of it. On the passenger side, I tried to be smart by putting in the seat console first. Oh guys, I swear to you, this is so dumb. It is not possible. I swear, I can't understand how much mistakes one can make. It was so hard to put in these bolts. And oh my god. And after I had finally put on those front bolts, I realized that the seat console wasn't fitting anyway because this one had no rails like the other one. Finally, it was time to move on to the part I was excited most about, putting on the diapers for my flyoff. I had randomly ordered this plastic sheet from Amazon, which had a structure which was matching the interior very good. I used an electrical wire to copy the main form. This idea worked so well that it fitted so perfectly that I didn't even have to put some glue on it. And the most interesting thing is, I really had no plan at the beginning how this is gonna end up. And I was so glad with the finish, because I really had things just only figured out by doing it. So I was very happy. There was one last thing that I wasn't happy about because this passenger seat was not fitted yet. And by the way, I had noticed something. As you can remember, I told you that I hadn't enough head clearance above me. So this was because the rails of the seat were on the driver's side. And I noticed there was a height difference from about 5 to 10 centimeters. But I noticed in my luck that the seating position that I was adjusting was perfectly in line with the passenger one. So this meant if I could use these mounting points as they were, I should be able to use the passenger seat on the driver's side. So by this way I could get a little bit lower, and I had to remove the seat anyways because I had to make some mountings for it. So I used this opportunity to change the seats from right to left. And you know what? That worked out very well. Alright, the car is not drivable yet, but I will try the flyoff just to see how good it works. It works so good for so little effort, I like it. Alright, now it's time to see the finished product. It was definitely a lot more effort than I thought it was gonna be, especially because of all of these unexpected things. But in the end, I am very happy with the results. I love how this car is looking. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. And would you rather strip your car to get some lightweight, or would you rather compensate that by putting more power like I did? Guys, this was the building of the interior of my E30 to make it drift fitting. Now in the next step I will have to upgrade some technical things on the car like the LSD. I will be upgrading the lock from 25% to 60%, and the next step will be taking it on a drift track. I will start to drift with it on a wet track, and after that we will go on a dry track. The wet track day is about 3 to 4 weeks after uploading this video today. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything out. Thank you for joining my video again, and see you next time. Yo Fuki. Bye bye.